Good morning. I'm Dhruti from Venkateshwara College of Engineering, CSE AI Department, Bengaluru. Today, I will give a small presentation on geothermal power generation. Introduction. Geothermal energy. It is a heat energy. It is a heat energy that is generated and it is stored within the earth. So this energy is produced from the natural decay of radioactive elements such as uranium, thorium, and residual heat left over from the original formation of the planet, which means to say that geo means earth and thermal means heat, which means it is the heat energy which is being produced. We are going to produce the energy from the heat which is generated from the earth. So this energy is produced from the natural decay, which means millions of years ago the radioactive elements which is in the earth's crust such as uranium and thorium are going to decay. So from the decay of these elements we are going to generate the energy. From this we are going to produce the energy, and another reason we are going to get this energy is that original formation of the planet, whatever the left out heat which is present during the formation of the planet, so that heat also contributes to the geothermal energy. Then a geothermal energy is often arsoned by drilling into the Earth's crust to access the hot water and steam that is used to generate electricity or to provide direct heating for buildings or other purposes, which means to say that whatever the heat which is being generated from this, and it can be used to generate the electricity from the hot water and the steam, and we can use it for heating purposes of the buildings and other purposes. And geothermal energy is considered as a renewable and sustainable sources of energy because as it can continuously used by the earth's natural processes, because it is renewable, it is not exhaustible because it will be present in the earth's crust, because the heat will be generated again and again. So therefore it can be considered as a renewable. And geothermal energy is going to produce a low grade heat at about 50 to 70 degrees Celsius, and this can be used for the thermal applications, but occasionally geothermal heat is available at temperature about 90 degree. So the electrical power production from turbines can be contemplated. We can see the advantages of geothermal energy. So geothermal energy, it is reliable and predictable because as we can depend upon them and we are able to predict, so according to the temperature, then it is sustainable and it is renewable. As discussed about, is renewable because it is inexhaustible. So the heat or the reasons what we have mentioned, so it will be occurring again and again in the earth's surface. So from this the heat will be generated where it cannot be exhausted, and it is going to have a low carbon emissions, and it is going to provide the base load power. So base load power are going to refer to the minimum amount of the electric power, so which is being needed to be supplied to the electrical grid at any given time. So these are the advantages of the geothermal energy. So we can depend upon them. They are predictable, they are sustainable, and they are renewable, and they're going to provide the baseline power. So generation of the geothermal plants. In general, how the geothermal energy can be produced is that, so first we are going to drill. First, as at a geothermal power plant, wells are going to be drilled 1 or 2 miles deep into the earth and pumped to steam or hot water to the surface. Hot water which is being pumped from the deep underground through a well under a high pressure. So when the water reaches the surface, whatever the pressure which is there, and it is dropped, and this causes the water to turn into steam, and the steam spins a turbine which is connected to the generator, and that produces the electricity. So the steam cools off in a cooling tower and condenses back to the water. The cooled water is pumped back into the earth to begin the process again. So this is the general procedure, so which can be taken for the generation of the geothermal energy. And we can also see that it is also available 24 hours per day, and it is independent of weather, and it is an inherent storage feature, so there are no storage facilities required. So these are the advantages of the geothermal energy. And we can see what are the types of geothermal power plants. So there are three types of geothermal power plants. One, the dry steam plants. Second is the flash steam plants. Third is binary cycle power plants. So dry steam plants. Dry steam plant, we can see as the picture here, whatever the hot steam which are being generated, and it is connected to the through the pipe from the underground, and which is being given to the turbine, which makes the turbine to rotate, and which is connected to a generator, so which is going to generate the electricity. So in general we can tell that that it takes the steam directly from the fractures in the ground to drive the turbine, and it is also considered as the oldest type of power plant. Okay, then we come with the flash steam plant. So we can say, see here, hot water from the underground is pumped into a cooler temperature from the flash tank, and this will change in the temperature, so which is going to generate the steam, and it is going to make the turbine to run and powers the generator. So are the flash plants pull high pressure hot water from the underground and mix it with the cooler at low pressure water. So this in turn creates a steam that is used to drive a turbine. So this is the simple procedure. So we can see the flash plants or flash steam plants, and the first is considered to be the oldest one, and this is the better than the oldest one. Here we are going to take the hot water from the underground, and then we are going to make that mix it with the cooler which is at the low pressure. So from the cool which has been produced at the low pressure, it is going to produce this steam. So from this it is going to make the turbine to run, and from this we can generate the electricity. So this is the second method. Then we come to the third method, that is the binary cycle power plant. So binary cycle power plant, it is going to use the hot water passed through a secondary fluid that has a lower boiling point than water. The secondary fluid is going to drive a turbine. So most future geothermal power plants are expected to be the binary plants, which means to say that what the heat is passed, so the hot water is passed to the secondary liquid. So whatever the hot water which is passed to the secondary liquid, the liquid is converted to the steam. From the steam which is being produced, then it has been given to the turbine, and the turbine rotates, and this is going to produce the electricity which has been connected to the generator. So this is the third method, and we can consider it as the most future geothermal power plants, okay, for the binary plants. Then we come across the disadvantages of the geothermal energy. So that is the limited availability, high upfront cost, environmental impacts, site specific challenges, maintenance requirements. So limited availability because so geothermal resources cannot be available in all the locations. It means it is available in only in certain locations, so which they may not be accessible or viable for everyone, which means everyone cannot access it, they're telling. So high upfront cost is going to tell building and drilling of geothermal power plants can be expensive, which can make it difficult to compete with other so cheaper energy resources. So it is a better idea for the energy generation, but it is an expensive and we can use the cheaper energy sources. Environmental impacts. While geothermal is a relatively clean energy source, the drilling and injection of the fluids into the ground can potentially cause environment harm or trigger earthquakes. So it can spoil the environment, or it can affect the environment. In turn, it is going to affect the beings. So site specific challenges. This specific geology and hydrology of the geothermal site can pose the challenges and risks for development and operations. Then finally, the last one is the maintenance requirements. So geothermal power plants are going to require a regular maintenance to keep them running smoothly and efficiently. So that is the maintenance requirement. So once it has been established, it has to be taken care. So these are some of the disadvantages of geothermal energy. So we can take a quick recap and call it to action. So here geothermal energy, it is reliable, sustainable, low carbon source of power that can produce baseload power which can be used for heating and cooling. So dry steam, flash steam, binary cycle power plants, and three main types of geothermal power plants. So And then we discussed about the advantages, three types, and we discussed about disadvantages as well. And geothermal energy has a significant potential to contribute to global energy needs and reduce carbon emissions. Increased investment and research are needed to expand the production and improve efficiency and cost effectiveness. So this is all about the geothermal power plants. Thank you.